Suppose you have a situation here where I need to grab an information from the second column, but this column header might change names. So sometimes it's called this, or it could be called age, or it could be called age with small letters, or with a space, or any other variation. But it really doesn't matter, because the way you get your data, it will always be the second column you need. So the way to handle this is, let's say I want to know the age of Kubeni, which would be the second row and the second column. But again, I want this to be variable and not literally saying I want this header overskrift 2. What I can do is I want to first grab all of the column headers from the previous step. So grab me a list of all of my column headers. And then I get these, and then because I know it's always position 2 I want, then I can say I want to grab the, well, it's the index 1 because it's a second row. So here I grab column names, and then I want only the second column header. So that would be curly brackets 1 because index 0. So name of second column, and at that point I can go back to my original table just to show what I want to do, which was to convert, in this case that was Kubeni, so it's the second row I want to convert into a record. And you could have something like a drop down list in Excel if that's what you need. So you could have the drop down where you say what person do I want. So this is sort of an alternative to an X lookup. So you should obviously use X lookup if you just need this, but this is more of a practice thing, because this can be useful if you have an annoying data set where column header can change and you don't want to have to refer to the name all the time, or have a bunch of try otherwise steps where you try to change the name. So at that point I can say I want, in this case, row 1. So now I have the record of Kubeni, and now I need to use the Record.Field function, because this lets me pass in a column name, or in this case the key value pair, as a name of a step, which you normally can't do. You can't do the curly bracket syntax and say I want to grab the one record where I have the age equals to, or rather the header 1 equals to Kubeni. You can't do that with the curly bracket. You can't have the name of a step, but you can if you have a record, and that's why I need to convert it into a record. And like I said, I need to use the Record.Field function in order to grab the field or the column value. So the key value pair, I need the value, and that was the Record.Field because they are just called fields. So my record is my previous step, and my field is then the name of my column, which was name of second column, which is then 20. So that might be not be super useful, but then you could do something like age of, and then you would want to actually grab the name of Kubeni, which would be actually just doing like this. Actually, I would need to do another step where I grab the name of the first column. So you can do like this and say, yeah, I may as well do it now since I mentioned it. So that would be name of the 0th column. And then likewise, I want to say here, I don't want name of first column. I want that to be grab the second row, age of 20. So I would say person has. So if we just do that as another step, just to make it more visual. So I do want to grab the record of second row, but I don't want the header 2, I want header 1. So that was name of first column now. And that gives me Kubeni. So then I can copy that text and say Kubeni has an age of 20. And then you could load that in, but since I'm in Power BI, I can't do that. But in this specific instance, you would want to do an X lookup, unless you really need to do it like this. Because the benefit, of course, of Power Query is you just hit update once and then it does everything for you. Whereas XLOOKUP, yeah, that would be a function. But this is more the principle of how you can grab a specific index in case you have your data set where you know your index positions won't change, or you do other manipulations to make sure that your columns are in a specific order, but the name might change. So you could also do something like grab the name of the second column and say I want to do a rename step. If I just grab source again and then say I want to rename this to something else, age, but then of course I want it to be variable. So again, here I'm inside the curly bracket, so I can refer to a step as the name. So not overskrift 2, but that should be name of the second column. Name of second column. And then it does exactly the same because it's functionally the same. So this way I can avoid having to go in and do a bunch of try otherwise, as I mentioned before. So that was everything I had to show. Yep.